Welcome, everyone. Thank you for returning to IOM Entertainment. I am going to do something spectacular today. I'm going to give you another top 10 list. This top 10 list will consist of what I believe are the best sitcoms of the 1990s. And when I say sitcom, I mean laugh track, 3-camera, studio audience sitcoms. Not the ones we have today like The Office and Parks and Rec where there's no laugh track. It's not really they call it sitcoms, but I don't call them sitcoms. They're another category. But for today's purposes, these are going to be the top 10 sitcoms of the 1990s, the last golden age of sitcoms. We had, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. After the 90s, sitcoms just kind of disappeared. Yes, we still have them, like How I Met Your Mother, Big Bang Theory. They came along. Everybody Loves Raymond. They came along later, but the 1990s were really the last decade of the traditional sitcoms. Then it became reality shows and the sitcoms with the one camera like The Office and a lot of dramas and stuff like that. But today we're focusing just on 90s sitcoms. Now, there are a million I can choose. A million. So everyone's list is going to be different and everyone is going to have an opinion. Before we get to the top 10, I have a few alternates where they just didn't quite make the top 10, but they were almost there. One of them is Family Matters. I wanted to put this in the top 10, but I feel like this show was only good for about 3 years. Then at some point, the daughter mysteriously disappeared. Urkel it was just, if you watch episodes today, it was like super annoying. Like, I think we found it funny in the 90s, but just that voice and this just being idiotic, it's just not funny. Those were different times. And then they really jumped the shark. He started becoming other people, and they even replaced the mother at one point at the end. So Family Matters didn't make the list. Another one that didn't make the list was Step by Step, another TGIF show. I really wanted to put this one in there too, but it just missed it. I'm not sure why, because it's a great show, kind of like a 90s version of the Brady Bunch. And then another one would be Third Rock from the Sun. I never watched the show ever when it was on like live, but then like years later I discovered it was on reruns and I just started watching it, and it was hysterical. If you've never watched Third Rock from the Sun, you're missing out. It's amazing. Didn't quite make my top 10, but it's amazing. And then this one is very shocking. Again, I never watched it one time while it was on, the air, but I got it in reruns, and it was The Nanny with Fran Drescher, that horrible, annoying voice. I don't know why. I just thought the show would be stupid, but again, it's hysterical. When you don't have cable, sometimes this is way back before internet and streaming. You just scrounge for whatever you can watch, and The Nanny, hysterical. Okay, now comes the real list. And some of these shows may have started in the 80s, or they started in the 90s and they went into the 2000s, but these are primarily 90s shows. So when you think of the 90s, you think of these shows. So starting at number 10, we're going to put Boy Meets World. Some people will think this is much higher. Again, it was a good show. I kind of missed the boat on this one. It kind of came when I was not really watching TGIF as much. But I do enjoy the show. I've seen a lot of episodes. It seemed like it had different incarnations. Like every few years they switched it up and they had like new people, different casts. He went from like middle school to high school to college. So they kept switching it up a little bit. So Boy Meets World, number 10. Number 9. This one also could be much higher, but for this purpose of this list, we're going to say Married with Children. When this show first started, The Fox network was just starting, and I think this was one of their very first shows on Fox. I think it was kind of like launching the Fox network, or it was close. And I even remember when it first started, I don't think my mom would even let me watch the show because it was, for that time, it was kind of racy and edgy with Al Bundy and Peg, and some of the jokes were a little risque. They're PG compared to what we see now. But this show was so funny. I caught up to the show after it had been on 2 or 3 years when it was in syndication. And man, the live audience screaming, hooting, and hollering every time someone came in. It was all right. Number 8, and this should be way higher too. I really do like this show. It's a very smart comedy. I remember it went head to head with another one I have on this list, and that's Frasier. Again, one of the greatest spin-offs of all time, one of the greatest characters of all time. The show was very, very funny. It just wasn't as funny as some of the ones I have further up this list. Frasier. Dr. Frasier Crane. All right, this kills me to put this low because it was one of my favorite shows ever. When you look back and watch older episodes, which every episode is old, but it's just not as funny as I guess we thought it was. Home Improvement. This was one of the best shows of the 90s. It launched Tim Allen into superstardom. You know, him in Tool Time doing all the shenanigans. It just got kind of repetitive. But it's still amazing. And I don't know if kids even know of the show today, but they should. Home Improvement. All right, number 6, and I can't even believe it's this low, but I guess it has to be, and that is Saved by the Frickin' Bell. Kelly Kapowski, Lisa Turtle, Jesse Spano, AC Slater, and Screech Powers, Mr. Belding. Oh my gosh. I think I've seen every episode 20 times each. I even liked when they spun off and did the college years, even though it was only 1 year. They had some TV movies. Zach and Kelly finally got married. This was just pure 90s amazement. And if I were to be flipping around on the TV, which you don't really do anymore, and I came across Saved by the Bell, I would stop because it was that damn good. Okay, now we're in the top 5. This is another one that could be someone's favorite show, and it's close, but we got to do the man who moved from West Philadelphia to Bel Air, the Fresh Prince of Bel Air, Will Smith, Carlton, the whole Banks family, Jazz. Hysterical. Even though they replaced the mom, and that kind of went down poorly, but man, I wish that show would have went on longer, because I think it was on 6 years. It should have had at least 8. It was so hysterically funny. Broke Will Smith out, became a huge movie star. Fresh Prince of Bel Air. All right, another one. This could be number 1. Did start in the 80s, but it was primarily 90s. Full House. One of the greatest theme songs of all time. One of the greatest shows of all time. I really enjoyed Fuller House. But, oh my gosh, every episode ended with like a life lesson. Everything was so cheesy. Cheesy, great, but I mean, what else can you say? Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen became huge stars. They were the youngest like billionaires in human history, self-made billionaires. Like, incredible. Uncle Jesse, Joey, Danny, the whole crew, Full House. And I really want to go to San Francisco, and I know they didn't film it there, but I want to stand in front of that house. All right, number 3, we're really getting it now. This will definitely be some people's favorite show of the 90s and of all time, and it should be, because it was that amazing. This was must-see TV, part of it, and that would be Friends. What a revelation this was when it debuted in 1994. All 6 members of the cast became huge stars. They all negotiated their salaries so everyone would get equal pay, so there'd be no dissension. And it worked, because for 10 years, the show, I mean, it took a little bit of ups and downs, but it remained like the number 1 show, or in the top 2 or 3 shows for its whole run. And everyone knows what Friends is. I don't have to say any more. Okay, number 2. And I really wanted to put this at number 1, but I just couldn't. I couldn't have number 1 be any lower than number 1. So number 2 would have to go to Roseanne. The Connors. What a show. Every season, except for the last season, was pure gold. I've never watched one episode of The Connors because even though I know Roseanne has said many problematic things, it's just not the show without Roseanne. She is the show. Aunt Jackie, Dan, Darlene, Becky, DJ, Crystal, the whole crew, Mark, I mean, everything about Roseanne is just absolutely hysterical. I don't know how they managed to be that funny for that long, but they did. Roseanne. And number 1, when you think of great sitcoms, this is always in the top 1 or 2. You think of I Love Lucy, and you think of Seinfeld. Oh my gosh. The number 1 show probably of the 90s. That and Friends, I think, we're battling it out for best TV show. But Seinfeld. What a crazy show about nothing. George, Kramer, Elaine, and Jerry. They were just, every episode was ridiculous. And they could have kept that show going. Like, I saw somewhere where they offered Jerry like $300 million or something to keep it going another season or something crazy. And I wish they would have, but man, Seinfeld, the number 1 show of the 90s, is probably my favorite show ever. I would think it's up there in the top couple. So did you agree with any of this list? What did I miss? What did I have that shouldn't have been in there? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching. Until the next top 10, goodbye.